Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Imani and I love all things planner and self-care related. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss new content. I'm gonna warn y'all right now that we're kind of in the middle of the storm here in Buffalo, New York. It's actually the day before our NFL Buffalo Bills wildcard game and they canceled that. So it's definitely a little bad right now and the wind is super crazy. So if you hear that in the background of the video, I do apologize, but I still wanted to film, especially because we're in the house and we're being safe. We are hunkered down and we have food, water, we still have electricity and power and Wi-Fi access. So we're safe and we're sound, but I do apologize for any noise that you hear. So in today's video, we're gonna do two things. Of course, I'm back in front of the camera again. I realized that, I wanted to keep trying something new. So in the first half of the video, we're actually gonna talk about the different ways that I like to monthly versus weekly versus daily plan, because a lot of the time, like that type of planning can feel almost repetitive. And I think I found a way, at least for me, that I can use all three and have it be different in each way to where it's not repetitive, but I'm still being productive. So that's what we're gonna talk about in the first half of the video. And in the second half, of course, we're gonna do a plan with me. So stay tuned. So I have my trusty yet dusty iPad with me. We're first gonna talk about monthly planning because that for me is kind of where I start. You all know that in Plan With Me videos, towards the end of a month, I like to kind of flip through my planner and then plan for the upcoming month. To me, monthly is a big overview. It's that overview of your month. It is where you have all of the meetings, the birthdays, the events, anything big that's coming up that you know of in that month. I like to start with the monthly plan because it sets the tone for the rest of the month, obviously, but the Plan With Me session that I'm currently working with. For the monthly view for me, you might notice in my Plan With Me videos that I actually don't really check the monthly view often. And that's because it's not the layout that I like to use to check off, different tasks and goals, but it's still really helpful for me. And I definitely encourage you to check out a monthly planner, a monthly view as well, because I think it sets the tone for the rest of the month. For example, if I see that I have a lot of birthdays or meetings or events a couple weekends in a row, I know that I will want to kind of schedule some self-care, some downtime in the middle of those weeks so that I'm fully ready to go. That's kind of what my introverted self needs, right? So when you have that entire month laid out for you, you already know where you can plug in your self-care, where you can plug in maybe like a little getaway and have that time away from yourself or for yourself, and then that you'll be prepared for anything that you have in the upcoming month. And it's not even just kind of events too, right? If you know that you have a big bill that's due at the end of the month, maybe you pay your car insurance and twice a year for 6 months, right? You know that, okay, for these couple of paychecks, I need to make sure that I am planning and not eating out as much or doing what I need to do to make sure those bills are paid at the end of the month. So yes, the monthly view is not meant to be something that I check every day, but it is something that helps me to lay out big overarching goals that I may have for the month. So I am taking kind of a new approach to planning this year. I'm going back to what I did in 2022, which was quarterly planning. If you missed that entire content series that we did a couple years ago, we talked a lot about the 12-week year and how we can kind of fit yearly goals into 12-week increments and accomplish more throughout the year. So because I am taking that quarterly planning approach this year, a month for me is a time to see what goals can I accomplish in that month that will help me accomplish my quarterly goals, for whatever quarter that we're in. So it really is a big overview to see, okay, I know for quarter one, I want to read 30 books. So maybe my monthly goal, depending on the meetings, the events, the birthdays that I have planned for the month, might be a little bit lower depending on what I have going on. So like I said, it's really meant to be a big overview, and that's how it works well for me, because it's not a daily layout that I use, but it is something to help me plan out my quarterly goals into monthly goals. So the next category of kind of the categories I use to plan is weekly planning. Now, I cannot find my weekly admin inserts. I'm not going to lie to you. I have no idea where they are, but I still consider the layout that I use, which is I'm gonna say it wrong, the cloth and paper vertical layout. Yeah, it's vertical weekly because each day has a set of lines and there is a full week on 2 pages. Am I saying that right? I'll check and make sure that I'm saying that right. But to me, that's still weekly planning because I have like that to-do list on the left-hand side, but then every day is on this 2-page layout. So I can plan weekly and daily. So weekly planning for me is meant to be the breakdown of the monthly goals. So we'll keep with the book example. I know that I want to read 20 books in quarter 1. Maybe I look at January, and January is a little bit more calmer for me. So I say, you know what, let's try reading 5 books in January. So as I take that kind of quarterly and monthly layout for the week, I'll say, you know, this is definitely a calmer week. Let me see if I can read 2 books this week. So on the left side of that weekly layout, I'll have 2 books. So that's kind of how I use weekly planning. Obviously, you know, you plan like the different events or something that you have going on that week, but it's also a really good way for me to use as a continuation of like the goals that I have for that quarter and that month. So all of these like categories we'll talk about daily next are all interconnected because it helps me to build upon those quarterly goals. And that's how the kind of monthly, weekly, daily works out really well for me because I have these overarching goals, but I'm able to break it down into little increments, and that way I can be a little bit more intentional about achieving and working towards a goal. So I also use the weekly layout for 2 other types of planning techniques or planning styles. Oftentimes it is used to carry over tasks from a previous week that I haven't accomplished yet. And a good example of this is you might have seen lately that I'm working on a particular license application, and it's not necessarily due at any point in time, but it is something that I want to work towards continuously throughout the month of January to complete by the end of the month. So it's something that'll continue to be carried over. There are steps that I know that I need to do, like ask for references, you know, look for a class to take. And those are things that I know I need to accomplish. So you'll continuously see license app on each week. And of course, as I accomplish different things, it'll be crossed off and it won't be carried over into the week. But if there's something left over from the prior week, I'm carrying it over into the next week because this year we are all about accomplishing the goals. By far, out of the types of categories that we've talked about, my favorite way of planning is a daily plan. Although I don't use daily templates and inserts, I only use weekly inserts, but that's because the vertical has that week, but there's still room for each day. I love daily planning because that's kind of how my brain thinks. It thinks, okay, I have these tasks I want to accomplish today. We'll carry over any tasks we don't complete on the next list. So if I don't accomplish something on Monday, it'll be pushed to Tuesday. But also it's a way for me to be intentional and really check in with myself and know, okay, I'm opening my planner. I didn't accomplish any of the 3 tasks that I had yesterday. What's going on? Let's carry it over, but let's really ask ourselves, like, what happened? Now, if it's something out of my control, of course, you know, I don't beat myself up too bad, but if I'm stressed or something like that, I know that I can have that time when I'm moving tasks over to really think to myself, like, what happened? What went wrong? How can I prepare for that going forward? So for me, if I could only choose one type of planning, I think daily planning would be it for me. I could see myself weekly planning as well, but there's something about opening my planner every day to make a to-do list that really helps me. Going back to the book example that we've talked about, so again, a quarterly goal might be 20 books in a quarter, and for January I might have 4 to 5 books, and in any given week I might have a 2-book reading goal. For the days, I'll be like, okay, I want to read 30 minutes this day, or I want to read 5 chapters this day. It all depends on obviously like my mood and what I have going on, but I try to read at least 30 minutes a day. So any given time you'll see 30 minutes a day of reading for each task of the day. But again, it's just something to help me build on those larger goals. So if you're looking for a way to kind of plan monthly, weekly, and daily, think about how you are achieving your goals, or like what goals you're working towards, because I think that can help you choose which of these 3 different categories works best for you. For me personally, I definitely need all 3 because that's just kind of how my brain thinks. It thinks bigger goals, and then it's like that graph thing, right? Like the big goal is up here, but then you have like these little tasks that you have to complete as you continue to go down. So up here it's like quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily at the bottom. Get it? But anyway, that's how daily, monthly, weekly planning works for me. Let me know in the comments below, like what type of technique of planning do you prefer? Are you a weekly planner? Are you a daily planner? Are you a monthly planner? And tell me why. If you could only choose one, what would you choose and why? So I really hope that was helpful. I think we hit on all of our goals here. That's kind of how I had it laid out, to help me kind of talk about the different types of categories. But if that was helpful, let me know in the comments below. But now we're gonna move on to I'm sure you can hear the wind, everything is shaking. We're gonna move on to the plan with me for the week. So before we move on, I did just want to show the current week. This is the week of the 8th through the 14th. It's currently a very windy Saturday afternoon. And as you can see, it was a very productive week. Not everything is crossed off, but I did make a lot of progress on some of the weekly goals. And I think it's also a good way to see and illustrate what I was talking about earlier. So license application, I know there were certain things I wanted to do throughout the week to make sure I was moving forward in accomplishing tasks to complete the application. Date night prep, I did some research on that, so it's crossed off, but I didn't finish the prep yet. I'm sorry, it's check marked, but it's not crossed off because I did not finish the prep yet, but I at least started by doing some research, narrowing down my ideas and figuring out what I want to do. So I love this layout. I think that's why this layout works for me, because it's both weekly and daily. So I know I said earlier, if I could only choose one type of layout, I would definitely choose daily. This is what I mean by daily though. So it's almost like a hybrid daily yet weekly layout, but it's also the reason why I don't use solely like daily inserts. It would just be too much, but this to me is very helpful. The other day I was asking myself, where the heck is my clipboard? If you watched my YouTube videos from last year when I was in my parents' house, I had this beautiful acrylic clipboard that had a gold clasp. That's how you kept the papers attached to the clipboard. I have no idea where it is. I mean, it wasn't that expensive, so I know I can buy another one, but I miss having something like that to write on, because this desk mat, although it was very beautiful and I love the color, I think I have this linked in my Amazon if you're interested. It's not the most fun to write on because it's textured and pebbled. So I always have to grab something like another insert to write underneath with. So I took out the week of the 23rd as well, so that way I have something to write on at least. Okay, just some random thoughts there. I am actually also gonna pull out the left side of the weekly insert just so I can see what I did not accomplish this week and what needs to be carried over. I know I mentioned, I think it was a couple videos ago, that I missed putting affirmations and just words of encouragement at the top. So we're actually going to start there. And I'm going to just take some time to think about what I might need next week. So I didn't add affirmations. I just added kind of a few reminders, things for me to just look at and be encouraged by throughout the week. I wrote forward because that is my 2020, I was gonna say 2023. It's not 2023 anymore. It's my 2024 word of the year. And then I wrote a reminder to be consistent this week because that is one of my goals. So we have forward, I'll just highlight that quickly, and be consistent this week. I like those reminders. Okay, it is like super windy outside. My goodness, no wonder why they canceled the game. I think like a lot of things are actually canceled. I know Buffalo Public Schools like cancel activities that were going on today. I think my parents' church service was even canceled tomorrow, so it's bad. But the show must go on. I just hope everyone is safe. But here are the monthly and the weekly to-do list. I'm going to use this to build out a to-do list for the upcoming week. So here is the final weekly to-do list. A lot of things, again, I carry over. We're actually having our 2024 meeting this week, and I'm super excited about it. It's just a time for Ian and I to sit down and kind of plan our year together. And we are planning a wedding for next year, which is absolutely wild. So we have a lot to talk about at our 2024 meeting this week. I'm really excited about it, and I know there are certain things on this to-do list that I absolutely want to accomplish this week. Our board dinner is supposed to be Saturday. I just need to make people respond in RSVP, so that is something that is of high priority. Oh, is it really gonna smear on me? I'm annoyed because it wasn't even that bold to begin with. I mean, the Hisu gel pen was definitely more bold. This is the Kokuyo pen. It is one of my favorites. I don't know why it's smearing though. It doesn't normally smear. Okay, I have to do the meeting prep because the meeting is this week. I really do want to cancel Adobe this week. I just can't remember my login, which is the biggest issue, and I want to start my taxes this week for sure. Everything else can kind of wait, but we'll see. We shall see. Now this week, I know I have a few kind of meeting related things going on, so we will plan that next. I had to stop because I am just so happy to have planner peace. I feel like I haven't had planner peace in a very long time, but planning this really just showed me just now that I have planner peace. This is exactly what I need and what I like and how I like to plan. So this works really well for me. As you can see, I do have a couple days off this week, obviously from Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I'm gonna try to volunteer at an event earlier today or earlier that day if I can get someone to drop me off. And for Tuesday, I just took some PTO as a way to get some self-care in early in the year. I tend to be one of those people who takes PTO mainly towards the middle and the end of the year, but just completely abandon it in the beginning, and that's not acceptable. So starting early, and I'm starting the year off on a different note. So we're gonna take some PTO on Tuesday. Other than that, not a ton going on this week. I do have a fun weekend planned. That dinner for the board will be Saturday. I'm going to brunch with friends on the 21st, as long as the weather is permitting. Who knows, it's Buffalo, New York, so it might be terrible. Other than that, I think it's gonna be a good week. I'm super excited about it. Let me know what you have planned in the week coming up. I would love to chat about your plans as well. Thank you so much for watching today's planner video. I hope that it was fun and that you may have learned something. Let me know if you have any other video requests. I'm happy to oblige. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.